review show, and I get so tickled because sometimes people find me. And they'll send me stuff. And then my question is, so what show are you trying to get on? And I think she was trying to do both, but she sent it to me first, so she hit first. So I was like, okay, I see she tried to play me, but it's all right. Because you know what? No, I'm just playing, y'all. It's just so amazing. Thank you so much, Donya, for coming on tonight to tell us about your book, because I thought it was really interesting just to jump right in. I wanted to ask you, first of all, tell everybody who you are and what you do and why should they even think about this book? What's the purpose of this?
All right. So my name is Donya, and I am a genealogical researcher. Basically, I research family history. And in 1996, I've been doing it for 25 years.
Wow.
And in 1996, I started doing the research on my grandfather's last name because it was so rare. And in the midst of me doing that, I found myself connected to American history. Now, you want to know why people should read this book? It's because, especially African Americans, they don't realize how closely connected they are to history. And I'm talking about American history. Mm-hmm. You know, they separate, and this may get me some people when I say this, but they separate Black history from American history, and they can't. They should.
Right.
It's not something that should be done, because we wouldn't have one without the other.
Exactly.
So that's what my book is about. Me doing my research, using my research as a catalyst to show others how to research their family and look at what they found when they do it.
Okay, so is this a historical fiction or is it true?
It's a nonfiction book. It's historical. So, for example, just on 6th and P Street, there's a church called Springfield Baptist Church. Mm-hmm. My grandparents founded that church.
Wow.
And then they also founded the church that's on 8th Street called New Hope Baptist. They founded 2 churches right here in D.C. But I found out that they came from a family of founders.
Okay.
So the place where they're from, which is Edgefield, South Carolina, which is the name of the book, comes to the light, learning about the entangled families of Edgefield. Mm-hmm. There are 3 churches there that my great-great-grandparents founded.
Wow.
So I'm like...
So you come from a family of planters.
I come from that's right.
That's amazing, because how many of us, especially of the African-American descent, because no matter what your denomination is, we probably have a lot of people, because I know my family, I have pastors and people that have founded churches. I have evangelists in my family, and it's interesting when I start to meet other people that have done the same thing, because I have one cousin, my gosh, she has taken our family and just really, I think by now we probably should have enough information to develop a book. Wink, wink, family, wink. We need to do the family book. It's nothing in my eye, I promise you, y'all, yeah. So what makes this stand out? Why even do this whole genealogy piece? Because honestly, people don't like to talk about where they're from. They don't really get into that. So what made you really do it, and why is searching your genealogy important?
Well, for me, it gave me a sense of who I was. Okay. And I've come from a very, very strong family. People who lived in D.C. for more than 50 years know my family. Wow. That's just how I come from. My family are the Yeldales in the D.C. area. Okay. So people know who they are. If you hear it, they know it. But I started doing it because of the fact, like I said, my grandfather's name was so different. I thought it would be easy for me to do. And then I started to realize in my journey and what the things that I was learning, that when I was upset about things, I had no business being upset about it, because I started to learn what my family went through and the things that they had to go through to get to where they are. And then learning about Edgefield, South Carolina as a whole, I started to pick up things that wasn't in school, and I started to realize, well, wait a minute, this is history. Why am I not seeing this in history books at school? Why did I not learn that a man by the name of Robert Abbott was a black man who started the Chicago Defender, the longest running newspaper today, period?
It's from here.
No, he's from Chicago, but the thing is that he is credited for moving 500,000 African Americans from the South to the North during the second Negro migration. So people don't know that. It just started to come out in the Smithsonian. But these are things that should have been told from the very beginning. And then I started to learn things that I I was actually connected to folks that I never thought I would be connected to. I'm connected to so far, because I also do DNA. So far, I'm connected to every president. Every one. Yes, y'all looking at Barack Obama's cousin.
Shut the front door, y'all. We have just moved on.
And just to
Lord have mercy.
Just to push
Mr. Obama, I got your cousin on my show. I have just the real. Y'all better watch out.
That's right.
Come on here.
Right.
So, you trying to tell me you connected to the orange one too?
Yeah.
Oh, bless your achy, breaky heart. On that note, let's move to the next question. Next question, because your cousin good and crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, did I say all that out loud? Y'all,
okay,
sorry. Okay, amen. So I have a question. So do you see this book being something that could be used as a textbook, as something that something that could be moved onto a college campus?
Yes.
Or even high school curriculum? Where do you see this book going from here?
I see it more between high school and college. I see it because as a must read, simply because it teaches you how to do your research for your family. Okay. One of the biggest issues for African Americans is going past the 1870 census. Now that's an issue because before 1870, we weren't listed.
Oh, that's right, because we were invisible. We were invisible.
And so we were
property.
Right, we were on slave schedules, 1850, 1860 slave schedules. So you can't find yourself. You don't know who you are. And that's the biggest problem. Because we don't know who we are, now we're at a point where this ain't my country. It don't do nothing for me. When, for real, my great-grandmother, she was born in 1867, before the 14th Amendment said that she was already a civilian here. But she was already here. And I can take it back even further than that. So I think that when people start to recognize and realize that they are from here, and this is as much theirs as it is anybody else's, even though you have another spot that you come from, so does everybody else. My poor little orange cousin, he just runs his mouth all the time talking about Scandinavia. He wished people were from Norway.
Right.
Guess what?
That's where he from?
That's my DNA, honey. So I'm here. And I've been here. And that's what it is for a lot of the people out of the Edgefield area. I've come to the realization, as far as my family is concerned, that there's a man by the name of Preston Brooks. Preston Brooks was the man that beat Charles Sumner, the abolitionist, on the Senate floor. Okay. That's my great-great-grandfather. Three-time great-grandfather. So it's different things like that I end up finding out. Things that you see in history and you start to learn, well, wait a minute, you mean to tell me my family actually witnessed the very history that's being taught? And we don't look at it like that. We don't see it in that way.
Well, and another piece that we don't look at and that we don't realize is that there were more freed slaves on this end. And that because my family is I'm originally from Texas. So most of my relatives are from Texas. And we have researched some things, and we even found out that one of my uncles actually founded a church out here in Virginia. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. But it's like we don't think about our contribution to this country as being a positive contribution but we're not teaching that, because I work with youth, and the first thing I say, what is your history? And they were like, oh, we were slaves and we had Martin Luther King. And I was like, you're right, but there's more to black history than slavery. I said, what happened in between that? Do you think we just started from slaves and you just got right here?
And they don't know.
And they don't get it. And so I would encourage everybody, if nothing else, pick up her book. Pick her book so you can figure out, comes to the light. Because a lot of us need to know about our families and how they need to come to the light. Because if we knew where the light was and we knew where our families came from, we would not be so amped to repeat history if we knew our history. Because a lot of times we enslave ourselves. Yes. And like my cousins and I were talking one time, it's like we even talk about soul ties, but we don't talk about the generational soul ties. Right. And when you don't know your history, then you're trying to figure out, why is it so easy for me to steal? Why is it so easy for me to lie? Why is it so easy for me to be promiscuous? Because it's in your history. It's in your bloodline. It's your and we don't get it. And you kind of feel like, why is this so easy for me? Yeah. But have you ever thought that it's a soul tie that has came down from generation to generation to generation? But until you know who Uncle, Cousin, Pookie them really are, you don't know.
I have found out that in every generation in my family, there has been a politician.
Wow.
Every generation. All the way through, there's been a politician. There's been somebody completely and deep into it.
Wow. See, I didn't come from the good politicians, but I can promise you I can start church in a minute, in about 30 seconds or less. But I tell everybody I'm the resident church girl, because if I can't do nothing else, I can find a good Baptist hymn. It's in my history. It's in my DNA. It's like somebody can start humming. We all got the same hum. We like, yeah, that's somebody we know. But Donya, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Please tell us, how can we get the book? How can we contact you? If somebody is interested in doing their genealogy, if they could contact you, what could they do to come to you to even help them jumpstart their way to being to defining their genealogy? Because it's 2017 and it's really sad that we're still saying some of the same conversations like when we were in high school.
Right.
This is crazy to me, and I don't understand why we're still. But again, if you don't know your history, you're amped to repeat it. So tell the people how they can get in contact with you.
Well, you can go on Facebook, and I'm on Comes to the Light. Just look up Comes to the Light on Facebook. You can also go to Instagram, Comes to the Light book on Instagram. On Twitter, it's Comes to the Light, period. So everything is a branded thing. It comes to the light. And if you want to know more information about your own history, follow Today's New Find in Black History. Because of this, I founded that. Awesome. And that's also on Facebook. And you can always learn something new, get a whole new thing going. And then as far as the genealogy is concerned, we have a Facebook page, because that I do with a business with my cousin.
Wow.
And we call it Genealogy Adventures. So if you go to Facebook and look up Genealogy Adventures, both there on Twitter and not Instagram, but definitely there and Twitter, you can get Genealogy Adventures, and we will definitely be able to help you out.
Wow, y'all, you have heard it right here. You have got to contact her so you can get your genealogy started, because when I tell you, looking at your history, you would be amazed when you start looking at your history and starting to find out who your relatives are, where they come from, and how this person begat that person, because a lot of times we don't really pay attention to that, but when you do, you be like, wow, I come from a long line of survivors. Yes. Regardless if they were sharecroppers or if they were kings and queens, you come from a line of survivors. Yes. All right, guys, we'll be right back after these messages.
Clear.